Each morning, real RSI setups are broken down with entry strategies and the technical reasoning behind every trade. This is RSI Trade of the Day with Verified Investing.
Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. Thank you guys so much for joining me live on this Thursday morning. So I had a title that was going to go out on the RSI Trade of the Day about quantum stocks. Quantum, somebody got my playbook ahead of time. I'm not sure what happened. QBTS, RGTI, these stocks were up 17 or 20%. These were great buying opportunities. I had mentioned it yesterday in my game plan or my RSI Trade of the Day that RGTI and QBTS, if they got into these support levels with the RSI at around the 50 or a little bit lower into some great support levels, you're going to get a bounce. I'm going to show you what happened. It's absolutely incredible. So if you guys were here yesterday and you took advantage of those, congratulations. You could have taken up to 20% on some of these quantum plays. All right, let's go ahead and go into GM. GM was my RSI Trade of the Day. That's the recap. Okay, so you turn off the VWAP. The VWAP on GM. It never got to our upside. Still has potential to go a little bit higher. I still like the $70.40 level. So that is what I'm targeting for an upside in GM. It is starting to get a little bit overextended on the RSI. Price action is continuing to push just a little bit higher. The momentum in GM looks to be kind of dissipating. So that's good to see. That means that the buyers are kind of stepping out of the way, and this could allow the sellers to come in, especially with the RSI being overextended. RGTI was the stock I was mentioning yesterday. This was my buy level, $35.40, huge gap fill in the pre-market and post-market yesterday. It got up to $42.97. So from this gap fill, had you taken this, you could have taken as much as 21%. And I mentioned what you're looking for is the RSI to drop below the 50 on the RSI into support. And I'm going to go over OKLO as well. And I'm going to go over MP, a couple other trades, and then a couple other stocks that I'm looking at as well. So you guys don't want to miss the end of this, but this was a great bounce. This is still a pretty big level. Now that you've gotten a 21% bounce in the pre-market, you're looking for a retrace to this scene of the crime, which is this broken upsloping trend line. This is your entry place for a short. If you enter this on a short, any close above this upsloping trend line on a daily closing basis, that is where you're looking to exit and then wait for a continuation move, possibly up to $56.34. OKLO, I'm not sure what's going on with my trading view. I've already logged in. OKLO, I had mentioned yesterday that if price action got down to about the 15 or the 18 with the daily RSI, I'm going to switch to the daily time frame. Daily RSI getting below the 50. This is a great swing trading buying opportunity into a ton of support. I still like this as a potential swing trade play. Now, if it were to drop a little bit more, get down to about $15.92, this is where would be a solid day trading opportunity. However, I still anticipate OKLO going much, much higher. I was mentioning you can get 10, 15, even 20 to 30% move to the upside. Could even head back all the way up to $139.47 or even higher. The other thing we're looking for on OKLO is this upsloping trend line. Once price action gets back into this level, this will be another area of significant support. So if you were going to swing trade this, this would be your entry point with an add level right here at around $105 on OKLO. MP was one that I mentioned yesterday as a potential couple day trades. This was where I mentioned I was going to get into MP. I was already in OKLO yesterday, so I didn't enter this day trade at $70.56 with an add level right here at $68.38. This was your buying opportunity. MP still has potential to go a lot higher. Look at all this support in the MP chart. The RSI is now below the 50 with volatility. This is what you like to see on a very strong stock. The volatility with support levels. This is going to be an amazing setup. This is a swing trade level for me. This is the fourth hit. I consider this a kiss of this level. So this would be the fourth hit. So even though I am bullish on MP, any break below this upsloping trend line on a daily closing basis would be your stop out level. You could get an upside target of around $91 on MP. If you start to break, this thing could really flesh out. The RSI could head back down towards the 30, and then you could pick this up again at $61.18. QBTS was another stock that I was mentioning. Look at where it's at in the pre-market. It never got down to this $25.66 level before getting a pop. If you look at the intraday on QBTS, this kind of gave you an indication that is ready to bounce. Look at this price action. Price action just continued lower all morning session. Never really got above the 70 with taking out any high pivots, then dropped below the 30 again. For me, based on the fact that it's oversold, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. This is an indication that it's likely to bounce. And as you can see, this is what happened in the charts. The price action just headed quite a bit higher. Another chart that I'm looking at is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now starting to flip the RSI. And for me, it's starting to become weaker and weaker. So a couple things that I look at when I'm looking at charts. So the 50 and the 30, as well as the 70, can give you indications of kind of what's going on, right? So RSI is a momentum indicator. When price action gets down into the 50 from an extended move on an overly extended stock, that's usually a good buying level. When price consolidates and the RSI stays around the 50 and doesn't get back up to the 70, that means that it could be putting in more of a bearish pattern, indicating that there's likely to be more of a rollover. And so for me, this is what's happening with Bitcoin. So it's failing to get above any high pivots as RSI is heading a little bit lower. So what I'm looking for is the RSI now to get below the 30, getting to this low pivot at $98,000 per coin on Bitcoin. So for me, this is the buying opportunity, especially if we can get Bitcoin around the 30. Now, if it fails to hold this level, you could go a little bit lower. Ultimately, anything below $100,000 is a good buying opportunity. It just, for me, this indicates that it's going to go lower unless you can get back above this upsloping trend line, and at which point it probably gets up to this $124,000 level. All right, Apple, I wanted to mention, somebody made a comment that I was wrong on Apple, and I still could be, right? Just because it's starting to play out now doesn't mean I'm correct. I had given an upside, potential max upside of $265, and I'm just going based on what the price action is telling me and what the RSI is telling me. Right now, that has been the max upside in Apple. What we're looking for is this upsloping trend line to break as the RSI continues lower. If we can break this upsloping trend line, you're going down to $237.88. And that would then trigger this negative RSI divergence and would be a good buying opportunity. Gold, similar price action with Bitcoin, where you got this major top, get the reversal candle. The RSI now is getting a little bit lower, consolidating sideways. So for you bulls out there, you don't want too much consolidation or a break of this upsloping trend line, like a true break. We got below it, but that didn't break below and close below it. So for the bulls, you need price action to stay above this level and the RSI to head higher. So what I'm looking at, for me, if I'm going to short this with a GLL or a dust, I want price action to head up a little bit above, maybe take out 4,400, and the RSI peaks 70, but creates again negative RSI divergence. That is a great shorting opportunity, and that would, for me, would trigger the top. If price action continues sideways, the RSI is going to continue lower, and then if we start breaking the 50, then again we could have lower downside. All right, Chainlink. I was asked about Chainlink in the comments, so thank you guys so much for commenting on my RSI trade of the day. What I'm noticing is you've got this shoulder here, this head here, and this shoulder here. Look at the RSI price action or the RSI action with the price action. So you did make a negative RSI divergence. So you had a higher price action with lower RSI. So this is playing out nicely. It got below the 50, headed higher, and now we're starting to get below the 50. This 50 level on the RSI is going to be resistance. So if we can get back above it, then price action can then likely head higher and get up to $24.68. However, if this head and shoulders pattern plays out, you could get a downside move to $10.93. You got this low pivot here. The RSI at that point would likely be closer to the 7 or the 30 or even lower than that. And so for me, that would be the buying opportunity that I have for Chainlink. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this Thursday morning, 8:45. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please make sure you're liking, subscribing, and following, ringing that bell. Please stay tuned. Gareth Soloway is going to be going live in my trading game plan in less than 5 minutes. You guys don't want to miss that. We'll see you guys next time in the charts. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.